Good afternoon. I visited Buffalo Seminary for the first time 2 years ago this month. The day was a whirlwind of interviews with faculty and staff, conversations with my future colleagues in the history department, and a truly bizarre morning meeting in which an alum peddled steak knives in the chapel. It was exciting. The highlight of my visit was the period I spent with a group of students in Mrs. Green's AP World History class, most of whom are now sitting behind me. Charged with teaching a sample lesson on a topic of my choosing, I gave a lecture and narrated a slideshow on the Arab Spring, a phenomenon about which I knew very little at the time. I was faking it. Afterwards, I asked for questions, fully expecting that the class, having just survived a brutal AP exam, would have nothing to say, and that I could begin packing up my things. You can only imagine my surprise when several girls raised their hands and regarded me with disconcerting intensity until I finally called on them. Before I knew what was happening, I found myself answering multiple questions about the complex role that Islam had played in initiating and shaping the Middle East's most recent political transformations. I'm totally serious, that's what they asked me about. In short, what began as an awkward early morning lecture from a nervous stranger evolved into a dialogue on timely and important issues. Needless to say, I was impressed by the intelligence of the students and the clarity of the questions they asked. But above all, I was struck by their remarkable openness. Having never met or interacted with me before, these students responded to my presentation with interest, enthusiasm, and good cheer. In a word, they made me feel welcome. Today, as we gather to congratulate our seniors and begin the bittersweet process of sending them out into the world, it is tempting to pose questions about who they are as a group, to pinpoint their collective personality. Several of my colleagues have hinted at the near impossibility of this task given the class of 2013's uncommon diversity. And indeed, the group of young women graduating today includes scholars, artists, actors, athletes, dancers, bakers, musicians, poets, novelists, and songwriters. It includes students with fascinating life stories, students with admirable zeal for public service, and at least one student who does a frighteningly accurate impression of Batman saying, "This isn't a car." Grace. But it is also true that the members of this class all share the simple but indispensable virtues of generosity and friendliness that I encountered on my first visit. Despite their diversity, or perhaps because of it, they are united in their fondness for community and their matchless ability to make others feel at home. As a newcomer to SEM, I credit these qualities with my own success at slowly but surely becoming a part of the school. Thanks to the enthusiasm and the encouragement of these students, I've participated in a variety of activities for the first time, doing things that I never would have dreamed of doing a few years ago. Together, we have appeared in a school play, during which I got to scream at several of them. We performed the ukulele in public, restarted SEM's Model UN team after a long hiatus, competed in a cutthroat academic World Quest trivia game, participated in a faculty-student field hockey event, which many of them found really amusing for some reason, and presented papers at an academic conference on William Shakespeare. Along the way, we have discussed books and movies, argued about politics and current events, and spent far too much time debating the relative merits of John Adams and Natalie Portman. In that order. Occasionally, we've even studied history. Each activity has only strengthened my initial impression that the SEM experience isn't merely an academic one, that it is an intense process of social and intellectual transformation that students and teachers undertake together. I can honestly say that I've never belonged to a community quite like SEM, and our graduating seniors deserve enormous credit for continuing to make our school a uniquely vibrant and welcoming place. Today's graduates may find that the same community has value for them in the future. In fact, my principal message to the class of 2013 is this: one of the best things about contributing to the SEM legacy is that you begin your adult years with a ready-made source of support. Obviously, this is an exciting time for you. As Ms. Miller told last year's class, all graduating seniors leave home on their very own hero's quest, their very own odyssey, trading the safety and security of their schools and families for a wide range of new experiences. Most of you have yet to forge your most important friendships and romantic relationships. You have yet to meet your most talented and influential teachers. You have yet to start or even settle upon the careers that will consume the lion's share of your adulthood. You have all of these things to look forward to, and that is a wonderful thing. However, as we all know, the hero's quest is fraught with peril. Leaving your hometown or your hobbit hole means trying new things, but it also means coming face to face with a multitude of dangers and difficulties. In the not-too-distant future, you will find that the people you care about don't always behave the way you want them to. You will encounter intellectual challenges that seem insurmountable, accept jobs that pay far too little, and discover that the sentence, "Your statement is now available," is one of the most terrifying in the English language. True. The good news is that having created a network of relationships that will last forever, you will always have good people standing behind you. If and when you stumble on the obstacles that appear in your path, remember that you have a community here that is ready and willing to help you to your feet. You should also remember that the people gathered here today want very much to remain a part of your lives. I'm sure the last month has been an exciting blur for many of you, but the rest of us have already begun the process of adjusting to your absence, and it has been downright strange. Morning meeting hasn't been the same without Bridget revealing that the Kitty's hognose bat is the world's smallest mammal, or whatever. I looked that one up. My classroom has felt oddly vacant without small groups of students heckling me from the senior catwalk or stopping by to share what they're currently reading. The hallways have an eerie, empty quality without your voices and footsteps. In short, while I encourage you to return to this community for help in hard times, you should know that your teachers, mentors, and fellow students will appreciate any opportunity to hear from you in the months and years ahead. We want to know about the fascinating classes you're taking and the life-changing books you're reading. We want to know where your travels have taken you and where you plan on going next. Small communities are sustained by such news. As I think about you and all the interesting people and places you are about to experience, I can't help remembering an amazing moment at the end of The Song of the Lark, a novel by Willa Cather. The book chronicles the trials and tribulations of Thea Kronberg, a young woman who leaves her dusty Colorado hometown and after years of persistence and hard work becomes a world-class opera singer. She could have been a SEM student. Ultimately, though, Cather concludes her narrative not with a description of Thea dazzling audiences from the stage in New York or London, but with a backward glance at the town and the people that she left behind. Here, Cather explains, accounts of Thea's accomplishments give them something to talk about and to conjecture about, cut off as they are from the restless currents of the world. The many naked little sandbars which lie between Venice and the mainland, and the seemingly stagnant water of the lagoons are made habitable and wholesome only because, every night, 1.5 feet of tide creeps in from the sea and winds its fresh brine up through all that network of shining waterways. So, into all the little settlements of quiet people, tidings of what their boys and girls are doing in the world bring refreshment, bring to the old memories and to the young dreams. So goodbye for now, class of 2013. Cherish today and the summer months ahead, take full advantage of every opportunity the future provides, and make every attempt to create the lives you want for yourselves. And every once in a while, when you get a chance, let us know how you're doing. News of your adventures will always refresh our own quiet community, reminding us of the path you've walked and giving those who follow in your footsteps a glimpse of the wider world. Congratulations.